Hello, you join me again in the shed, and I thought I'd talk about this, the Parkside Bandsaw. Pretty much an entry-level saw. For me, it works great, might do as well for you. So here it is. I bought it late last year and it was, I can't remember the exact price, but it was less than £100. The model number is a PBS 350 A1, 350 watts, and it's got a 1400mm blade on it. The table area is 300mm by 300mm. Quick look. Yeah, 300 by 300. The depth of cut is 80mm. Now that can go higher, but they recommend the maximum is 80mm high, and the throat is 200mm or 8 inches. 3 meters of cable come with it. There's the motor specs if you need it. The cutting speed apparently is 900 meters per minute. The height of the main body is 645mm. The height of the tensioner is just over 40mm. It weighs just under 33 pounds. Size of the base is 250mm by 335mm. The base and the table combined is around 440mm. Now I've been using it off and on over the last, let's say the last 11 months, and the blade that come with it wasn't really up to much. In fact, here is the old blade. I've just swapped it out. That's the one that comes with it. And I found it was going offline every time I was trying to cut, even though I was getting it tensioned correctly. I think the quality of them are pretty poor. So I've swapped it out for another one. And that is the one I've got. So the width is 3/8 of an inch or 10mm. It's 0.014 of an inch thick for wood and metal work. And the cuts so far have been top notch. Now I was going to go for a 1/2 inch blade, which I think this can take, but I thought I'll go middle ground because this one here is, in fact, I think it's around 6mm. So here it is opened up, and I found this really neat trick to coil it up, so I'll quickly show you. So 1 foot on the blade, your back of your hand facing your leg, full 360 twist, bring your hand down, pull it up. It's probably better to wear gloves when doing this. There we go, all coiled up. So at the minute I've got it set in this position on my bench, but I can easily turn it around 90 degrees so I can work from this position. On the rear there's a hanger or a screw for the pusher that comes with it. On and off button. Obviously the on button, the green button, is further back with a guard around the outside, and the stop button is easy accessible. Right, let's just turn it back this way to show you inside. Goes without saying, make sure it's unplugged before you start tampering with any of this. So with it, you get this screwdriver, and you use it to undo the side doors. That one's already undone. And it's got a tiny little sensor just here, in case you forget to lock the door shut. I think on the Parkside, out of all the cheapo bandsaws, I think it's the only one that's got 4 keys. 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Now on the side, I need to vacuum this out a little bit, but you can see where the blade goes all the way around. You notice down here there's a little brush to brush off the loose sawdust. To slacken the tension, you undo this knob at the top there. I'll just show you that in operation. So just slacken it off, just for removing the blade. You can see it slackened off to a point where you can easily slide it out. Now just here, you can notice there's a slot and there's a plate that runs across, so you can slide the blade out relatively easily. Now when I got it, it came with 2 of these plastic knobs here, but I lost one, so I've just put a wing nut on there and then put a little nut behind it so it can fit in this channel. To release this plate, we'll just take this wing nut off. Then when that's done, take the bolt out, and then slide that plate across. And when we're at that position, we can take the blade out, which is really easy to do at this point once it's slack. So we can, again, it's probably wise to use gloves here. And there's a little slot there for the blade to come out of. And there we go, that's the new one. So just reverse to put it back on. So we get it through this slot first, guide it over the top wheel. At the minute I've got it set up for this blade, but I remember someone saying a while ago the best thing to do is have the gully of the teeth on the centre line of this pulley wheel rather than the blade being on the centre of the pulley wheel. Now the width of this pulley isn't that wide, so I've gone right to the outer edge. Someone tell me in the comments if you think of a better way of doing that, but for me it seems to work okay. So right to the outside of the rubber on the pulley wheel, and then almost in the centre on the gully of the teeth. To adjust that pulley, the knob on the rear. Now this is set up perfectly. You've got a lock off nut there as well, so you can adjust that pulley wheel backwards and forwards to get the blade exactly where you need it. So we'll just tighten this back up again. And then just find the right tension. Again, whether it's right or not, I've been told before, it's best to have around 1/4 of an inch flex on that blade. Some people do it by sound, I know, but I do it by about 1/4 of an inch. So we'll tighten this up to the point where I think it's right. Yeah, about there. Okay, so if you look at the bottom here, that's the outlet for the vacuum, and then it comes out the other side. Internally, 35mm, externally, yeah, 40mm. This is the vacuum attachment I use, and it just fits in there. So as you can see, it fits in there, but you end up with a little gap. I just put a bit of tape over there. Tape covering the gap. So I'll just close this back up. So now we can put the bar back in place. Bolt through the top, and then a wing nut underneath that. So on this side here, obviously to adjust, depending on the height piece of timber you've got. So undo first, and then lock off where you need to. So tighten up. And that's locked in place. Shame really. Notice on here, slightly out of line, but I tend to use my own rulers anyway. In fact, I should peel that off and try and fit it in that channel. On the underside here, we've got the table adjuster, depending on what angle you want to cut. So first of all, release this handle here, and then there's another knob there to undo, and that locks it off in whatever position you need it. So anything from 0 to 45 degrees. Now I won't go into too much detail on the setup of bandsaws because there's plenty of videos out there, but just to show you how it works on a Parkside, on majority of decent bandsaws you'll get 2 bearing wheels to guide the blade and then 1 at the rear. But on a Parkside you just get 2 metal guides. It can be adjusted. It's a pin that goes through this casting here with a tiny Allen key, and that pin goes in and out. Now I've always been told that the blade should just be clearing both those guides, which it is at the moment. And then on the rear on the Parkside, it's got a bearing to guide the blade. Now the bearing at the back there, at the minute it's clearing it, the blade up and down, but if I put some pressure, then it'll catch that bearing. And the same is on the underside. I'll just quickly undo this again. Okay, so in here, you can see the 2 guide pins, the same as at the top. There's the Allen key for one, there's the other, and there's a little hole at the side here be able to push the pin in and out, and then the other pin comes out this side. Above, up here, is another one of those bearings, the same as the one on the top, which is up here behind the blade. But to get to that, to adjust it, it's already set okay at the minute, but to do it, you need to take this table off completely, which is relatively easy. All you do, just undo these two knobs here, and then the whole plate slides off. You actually get Allen keys and spanners, well, one spanner with the bandsaw. I just tend to use one of these. There's the other reed switch, just there to make sure the door's shut before you use it, and the other one sits up here. If you notice here as well, it's got fixing points, one on each corner. Now I know some people have stated that they get a little bit of vibration from these bandsaws, but I don't want to anchor this down just yet, because again I move it 90 degrees depending on which way I want to use it. But one thing I did see is on Peter Millard's channel, 10-Minute Workshop, he's actually suggested using erasers like rubbers, one on each corner, and apparently for him it works great. Not on this particular model, but bandsaws in general. But for me, the vibration is there a little bit, but I can cope with it. It's not a big deal for me. But if it got any worse, then yeah, I'd use some erasers. Check out Peter's channel, by the way. I nearly forgot, what comes with it as well is the guide. So it hooks onto one side and then clips onto the other, and then clamps in with this lever there. Now when you get it, you've got to get the sweet point, because you can adjust this anti-clockwise, clockwise, then tighten it up. And for me at the moment, that's in the perfect position where there's just enough clamp on it to lock in place. If it's any less than that, you'll tend to see it moves side to side. And to get it straight, I'll just use a square, just to square it up. So I want to get a thinner blade than this in some point as well to do detailed work. I've checked this out for curves just to see what it can handle. It will do approximately 50 mil diameter circle, for example. Anything less than that, then it would struggle to go around the curve. So that's the bandsaw in a nutshell. I'm not an expert on these. This is the only bandsaw I've ever had actually, so I can't compare it to anything else. For me, what I've used it for, it's worked great. I'm sure it continue to do so. I've got some good projects that I want to put through this bandsaw, videos to come on that. Straight cuts work well on this blade, the 10mm blade, and also for detailed work. To hear it running, and off. Who knows, I may upgrade it in the future for a better model, ideally one with the bearing rollers. I'll keep this for one particular size blade, and then the uprated one for a bigger blade. Again, if you're unsure about anything to do with bandsaws, please do your own work first. Like I say, I'm not an expert, and if you want to ask any questions, please feel free to do so. Stick them in the comments below. Bandsaws can be very dangerous. Always read the manual first. Let's try cutting some wood. So there we go, the Parkside bandsaw. Again, I'm not an expert on bandsaws. This is the only one I've ever had. For me, it works great, works for what I need it, but I think changing the blade is the first thing you need to do if you get one. Let me know in the comments if you got something similar to this. The company that they're made by is Shapak. I think that's how it's pronounced. I think they made the same one for the Audi model, which is the Work Zone one. Yeah, let me know what you think. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching. Cheers.